Okay, the LeRoy and Lewis steak experience. I've been thinking about this for a long time, been wanting to do something like this for a long time. You know, we finally have this restaurant, we finally have the place to do it, we finally have all the equipment to do it, all the people to do it. We finally have partnered with a ranch that could get us these cuts at the right price. So everything's coming together for the steak experience. Here's how it all works. We partnered with Joel Bentliff from Loin Farm. He found us on this channel, on YouTube, on Patreon. He hit us up and said, hey, I'd like to raise cattle and I think that we could partner with each other in a really interesting way. I'm a follower of what you guys do, and I think that I could get you a whole carcass of beef at a very high quality at a very competitive price. And so my eyes lit up right away. I listened to him. We started bringing cows in and testing them out, breaking them down in different ways. The idea is to isolate the best stuff in it. That's the idea with butchering in general. Like, all the best kind of cuts on the cow are going to be right in the middle. You got your ribeye, you got your flanks, you got your porterhouse and tenderloin. And so all those things we're kind of pulling out of the middle, cutting them into nice big pieces here in-house, and then selling them to individual groups for reservations. So the idea is that we cut these amazing, beautiful, incredibly well marbled, excellent looking steaks, and they deserve more than the barbecue line. Don't get me wrong, I love the barbecue line. I love everything that comes off the barbecue line at our restaurant here. But these things are just, they need to be plated. They need to be like delicately taken care of. They need to be served to someone from a server. And it's also an opportunity for us to exercise our real hospitality muscles that we haven't been able to exercise kind of in that way. The barbecue line service is completely different from actually like going down, sitting at a restaurant, getting that full service from a server who brings you drinks, you order from the menu. So it allows us to be dynamic as a restaurant. It allows us to have this amazing offering for our guests. It allows us to work with amazing, incredible farms. It allows us to like really like dial down and pay like really close attention in butchery and barbecue and grilling and plating and all this stuff. So it works for everyone. It's just one of those things that just works for everyone. We inventory the steaks, we sell them to the groups, we bring them out here, they get dry brined, they get dunked in Dalmatian, smoked to 120, they're gonna get rested down and then grilled, and then we're gonna cut them up and plate them with a nice chimichurri, a miso, mustard, garlic, butter, some of everything else. You're gonna see everything, the entire steak process from us today. Tonight, we're also going to talk to the servers and see how they like the experience. We're going to try to sell some wine tonight, try to sell some cocktails tonight, because that's another thing that makes these steaks amazing, is that it's easy on the upsell. We can sell them anything else. You can come in, pre-order a steak, put your deposit down, and then you can pre-order anything else on the menu. If you get your steak on a Saturday, you can pre-order a bacon rib or pounds of brisket or anything else that you want. So this is one of those things where it just works for everybody. It's fantastic, it tastes delicious, and there's just no reason we wouldn't do it. So it's the steak experience. Okay, so we got this 4-quarter in from Loin Farms, our very good friend Joel Bentliff. This itself is not a 4-quarter, this is just a rib section. I'm going to be removing this standing rib roast to continue aging in our cooler, and then at the same time I'm going to be taking off some of the beef ribs, the navel, and some of this skirt. Man, look at the marbling on this thing. It's pretty incredible. Over here, look at those beef ribs right there. This looks pretty good too. So right now what I'm doing is figuring out where exactly I'm gonna cut this thing. This is the ribeye right here. This is what we're gonna get for all the steaks. I think it's gonna be about right here, kind of right as they start going flat, kind of like right here. I think that's pretty much what I'm looking for. Like right around there. I think I wanna go up here a little bit more, as straight as I can. Just gonna mark that and then try to draw as straight a line as possible to about right there. And I'm just gonna go in between the bones, trying to save both the ribeye and the beef ribs here. Okay, it's nice and marked. Let's try to go through these bones here. Okay, here's our standing rib roast. We're gonna dry age this, continue to age it in the cooler. Probably cut into it next week when we have 28 days on all 3 pieces. We are here cutting steaks for steak dinners. We put this entire loin in the walk-in right by the fan, keep it nice and dry. 28 days is what we're at on the aging process. We're now gonna cut this into steaks and vacuum seal them. And then when it's time for steak dinners, we'll pull that out of the vacuum seal, dry brine, smoke, grill, do the whole service. But this is the first step, we gotta cut them first. I cut this first one kind of off the end, and it's a little like triangular shape, but that's because this has a bone in it. This is like the very last rib bone, so I gotta try to work around that. I'm not like I've done butchery, but I'm not great at it. So we're making it work here. This is the first one, really just trying to clean it up. A lot of times this bone is not like completely cut. You can see how it's like cut into like that. A lot of times it's not cut into right away. So I'm gonna try to face it and make it as like square and even as possible. So I'm gonna just look for the vertebra right here where they're separated. The idea is that we don't have really good like bone sawing equipment. We just have this Ryobi. Sponsor us, Ryobi. I'm gonna try to cut through as little bone as possible. So I'm seeing where these vertebrae are. I'm gonna go just right in between that and mark it, kind of up here, and then try to make it as straight as possible. Mark it down there. And then follow this line up here. That's about how thick the steaks are gonna be. Give it a nice little trace. So we've got this line right here, and then just connect it to that right there. So that's gonna be the thickness of our steak. We're just gonna try to cut right down through it, see what happens. Almost all the way through. We got like right in between the vertebra, which is exactly what we wanted. I'm gonna try to open this up a little bit over there. Make sure that's cut through as much as I can. Make sure that is cut through as much as I can. So now what we have to do is just cut through that little bit of bone right there. Okay, not a terrible looking steak. Just gotta clean it up a little bit. I'm gonna try to clean up just the edges here. Any of this kind of desiccated material on the outside, that's not gonna be really good to eat. Kind of this little piece right there. And try to get rid of as much extraneous fat as I can. We want a little bit of fat on the steak. We don't want that much. Try to get this nice long. Boom. That's a pretty good looking steak. So I think we're gonna get 1, 2, 3, at least 3 more out of this. So 4, 5, maybe we can get a 6th, we'll see. That's it, vacuum sealed. Gonna wait till somebody orders it.
All right, steak night. Just got these out of the vac seal. We're going to dry brine them. They're gonna dry brine. They're gonna sit in the walk-in for several hours before they get cooked. And really, we just put salt on. And then, as you see right here, I have labels on sizes coinciding with the name of who they are. And then I'm gonna go one step further, and I'm gonna number them. And we don't have the like the steak numbers yet. They use it like steakhouses. So I'm gonna do toothpicks. Toothpicks. So the process of a dry brine is one, obviously, to get, like, it's a thick piece of meat, so you want to get salt all the way through. This is going to bring a bunch of moisture to the surface too, which will be nice. And I'm going pretty heavy salt on them. Again, it's a really big piece of meat, so I want to make sure that they get all the way through.
Is this the same salt we're using on like briskets and flat irons and everything?
Yeah, so this is just diamond crystal kosher, nothing fancy. 1, 2, 3, 4. Beautiful handwriting. They said I could have been a doctor. All right, that's it. That's all you fucking get. Cut it out. Send it in.
Yeah, so for these steaks, we're just gonna dunk them in the Dalmatian rub and then throw them onto this pit here. Start it out, like, keep it around 200 degrees, super nice and smoky. And we have 4 steaks tonight too, so I'm just gonna try and keep them in order. We have this list out here, so I'm just gonna throw the first one on, kind of closest to the fire, and that should be the first one to come off. Nice dunk in our Dalmatian rub, just salt and pepper. Now we're just loading them up. Got the pit right around 175, 200 degrees right now. Just keep it nice and smoky for a bit. Give these steaks a nice dunk in our Dalmatian rub, just 50-50 salt and pepper. This one's almost 6 pounds, so it's probably gonna smoke for about 3 or 4 hours before it comes up to temp.
What time is that reservation?
This one is 6:30, so we've got a good amount of time to get it done. Then we'll smoke these and then we'll sear them off at the very end. Just try and build up some nice smoky flavor and color for like first 45 minutes or so, and then we'll kind of try and hit 200 pretty much until they're done. We're bringing them up to about 115 to 120 degrees. Nice, pretty rare, but should be really good. And we'll check back in about an hour.
How much maintenance does that fire need?
Not too much. This pit runs so weird too that we just kind of, we'll build like our charcoal bed and that will get us kind of the temp we want it to, and then we'll just kind of let a log smolder and have a low flame over it. A nice really smoky flavor. So it's been probably 45 minutes since we put these on. So we're just gonna open it up now and get a check and see what they're looking like. Flip them over so that they cook even. Rocking right about 200 degrees on the pit, so that's perfect, right about what we want. Yeah, so we're just gonna come in here, give everything a nice flip. Keep everything in the same position so we don't mix up anything. Then I'm also just gonna get a temp check on them and see where we're looking like. None of them are gonna be ready yet. They're all gonna need significant more time, but yeah, it's 85 degrees, 88. This one's still 65, so this big one will be a bit. But yeah, rocking along pretty nice. We still have 3 hours till this dinner too, so that's why we get them on super early, so we can keep it just super nice and smoky and not have to rush anything, not have to crank up the temps too hot at the end. And we're right around 200 degrees, so I'm not gonna worry too much about this, and probably try and get a little flame up. And yeah, that'll just be kind of the perfect temp range with a nice low flame. Yeah, you don't want it to get too hot, otherwise it'll just be kind of the way this pit is set up, that the flame will get up and just get the pit to like 350 degrees before you know it if you're not careful. So we try and only have like one log in at a time and not let it burn too hard. Yeah, so we're just gonna get in and give them another temp check and flip, and then we'll probably throw another log on the fire here too now. Yeah, it's all looks really good so far. So this one's starting to get close. This one's right around 115. Yeah, so some of these smaller ones are getting really close. Probably only give those about 10 more minutes and they'll be ready. Big one's a little bit behind still. It's still like 95. Big one will definitely be the longest. The other three should be coming off about the same time. Yeah, looking good. Get another log on the fire and just keep rocking the same temps for a bit. This firebox is so small too that we're just gonna try and kind of find like the small barky ones that will be really nice and smoky. And with the temps we're rocking, this will take a while to catch, so I'm more just starting to like dry this one out so that it'll be ready whenever this one burns through. We'll check back in about 30 minutes. Yeah, so I'm gonna pull this steak off. Pull these two steaks off actually. So they're right about 120. Nice, pretty rare. They'll overcook a little bit, kind of come up 120 to 125 or so, but just 120s all around the board pretty much is what we're shooting for. So then we're gonna let these rest out here for a little bit, and then we'll stick them into our warmer and then sear them off for service. So that was about a 2-hour cook on those smaller ones, and that bigger ribeye will probably be like another 45 minutes to an hour and a half or so. The like 3-pound range is usually right about 2 hours, and then anything above that's kind of 3 to 4, just about right what we want.
Cool. And then whenever we get orders from Jared, we'll write that right here. It's usually onion rings, salad, kale slaw, carrots. That's usually what it is. And what we can do is start getting all the cups ready. Since we have 4 steaks, we'll get 4 of those plates that I was talking about. You know, the mustard, beet, yeah, all 3 pickles. Pickles, jalapeno, onion. Yeah. Jared, you got a first order for us?
Yes, sir, I do.
What do we got?
So you come in a large Kelsey's or a large pork hash and rice, onion rings, and cornbread.
All right, cool. Let me know when they're ready for the tour. Thank you so much for coming to do this steak dinner. This is like one of the most unique kind of ways that I've ever seen a restaurant like work with a ranch, kind of like hand in glove like this. This specific ranch where these came from is Dean and Peeler, and they have a pretty crazy, fully vertically integrated system. That means they control everything from all the feed in the feedlot into like every single stage of the cow's life. And then they also have their own harvesting facility. They also have their own like complete like cooking facility. So I always say that they control everything from the cow's grandpa to the grandpa who's eating the barbacoa. So every single thing the whole way through. So it's a very like hand in glove restaurant and ranch experience that we did not, think was possible. And so we've been getting their beef in. We would get these hindquarters of beef and we cut the steaks and they just look so good. Like they just cook up so good and they look so amazing. And it's like the steak itself is just so impressive that we had to build a service experience around that. That's what this is. That's why you guys are here. We want you guys to sit down. I want you to buy a bottle of wine or whatever else you're going to buy. Like, you know, bring everything to the table and really like show you guys everything we do here. We really like delivering to our biggest fans. And so this was something that we really thought that our biggest fans would jump onto and that we knew we could deliver really heavily on. So we got 2 pit trailers over here. This is our 1,000-gallon offset. We call it Big Red. It was built by Backline Fabrication. You know, the smoke on this pit comes from the low temperature combustion of wood. That's what you see in that puffy smoke. That's what you kind of smell like a campfire. That is what creates a smoke ring. That's like chemicals like lignin and vanillin and kind of like those kind of really almost like caramelly scented smoke flavors. The other pit that we have is the Chud pit that has a burn barrel and some direct pits. Creates a completely different type of smoke. So we take fresh charcoal that we burn from the wood and we shovel it directly under chickens or pigs or tri-tips. That fat and juices drip onto those coals. That vaporizes and creates a smoke that almost tastes like a grill. So you have one smoke that tastes like a grill and one that tastes like a kind of like more campfirey. But you know, we want to be a really good barbecue restaurant, so we want to master both. Come on in, I'll show you guys your steak. Well, this steak has been smoking away for a little while. That's a little one. This is the big boy right there. Over 5 pounds, 5.5 pound. We dry brined it, we smoked it today, and I'm just getting ready to grill it up for you guys. We cooked it to about 120 internal. So it's ready. It's basically on pause. And we're gonna go wave it over the fire, and you guys are gonna enjoy the fruits of all the labor. Awesome. Thanks, y'all. I can't thank you guys enough for coming. You know, it's most important thing to us is supporting local ranches, local farmers, local agriculture. And it doesn't matter if we do that, we can do that all the time. It doesn't matter if you guys don't do it too. So thank you very much. I mean, we really want to sear it. Like we want to get it crusty and hot. And like, ideally these bars are a little hot and we can like get a nice quadrillage. I felt really good about going into today because they've had it under control. They have had it under control very well. This is what it should be looking like when we're grilling it. Like a little bit of flames licking the sides. Like we want all that fat to be bubbling up. Yeah, that's what we're talking about right there. This is so much fun. Okay, porterhouse steak we got, or this is a T-bone steak because the tenderloin is a little small, but we got the strip side, the tenderloin side. First thing we do when we're cutting this steak is to just separate the muscles. So just trying to go right along the bone there, nicely cooked. So now we're gonna place this bone down on the plate, exactly how we want to present the steak. We're gonna set that right there. Then we're gonna have our strip about like directly in the middle. Looks great. Just like when we're plating up a big tray of barbecue, don't really want to move it after we've set it down. Normally I like to bring a little bit of thyme from my house to like sprinkle around the plate, but we'll just go flaky salt.
Some thyme outside.
Is there some? You want to grab some? A couple of these little spriggies. I think it's got a lot of salt on it. If you're keeping track at home, we dry brined it, dunked it in Dalmatian, and put a bunch of Maldon on top. So I think it's good. We good? You feel good with that? I think that looks great. Lovely onion rings. You got it? All right, we're going out to the table. We got everything else? All right. Here we go, guys. The big T-bone. So this was dry brine, dunked in our Dalmatian, smoked, grilled, finished with a little bit of fresh thyme, some flaky Maldon salt. There are onion rings over here. We've also got our cornbread. I believe we've also got some slaw and some pork hash coming. This is a chimichurri. This is a miso, mustard, garlic butter. Both of our barbecue sauces, mustard and beet. And then pickled onions, pickled jalapenos, and pickles. Please enjoy. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it.
So how's everything we're doing so far, everybody?
Everything I tasted
great.
The best thing I've ever had.
Best thing you ever had. Everything, yeah. Okay, good. That's what we want to hear. That's good. Awesome. Well, if I can get y'all anything else, y'all let me know, okay? Absolutely. I do love the element of us getting to serve at the tables and getting to kind of personalize that experience. Because going through the barbecue line, sometimes people lose that, as like guest service, as I like to call it. So really going to the table and really, catering to their experience, making sure they get what they need and suggesting things that they might not have even known they need really is one of the things I really love doing. And kind of just like personalizing their experience, going back and checking on them, making sure everything's there, and just to see the happiness and joy in their faces when we do that kind of thing.
How'd it go tonight?
It went actually really, really well tonight. Got a bottle sold tonight, got some guys over there drinking beers. We got a really large party of 8 to 10 guys that it really worked out really well for. They got one of the larger cuts of steaks, and they just enjoyed everything. You know, we got them some onion rings, some really things like that, and they were just able to really sit down and enjoy our barbecue. They actually added on some burgers as well, which I suggested for them. You know, it's kind of like an added on kind of thing for them. So it was great experience.
Okay, that is it. That is our steak experience. Like I said in the beginning of this video, we absolutely love doing this stuff. Just how it looks is so incredible. The smile on people's faces when it drops and hits the table, the anticipation before, you know, like with the whole tour of everything too. Every single step along the way is so much fun. It's so cool and it's so damn delicious. I just love doing these steak dinners. We're gonna keep doing them. I think we're gonna try to do them with different cuts too. Like we're doing the ribeyes and the porterhouses now, but I think we're gonna kind of enter the picanha maybe into the fold. We're gonna put some other steaks in there, prepped in different ways, maybe at a lower price point. We just wanna keep doing this as much as we can. We're continuing to do fun and different stuff with barbecue, the way that we cook it, the way that we serve it, the way that we experience it, the way that we consume it. Steak experience. See you here, but you gotta get a reservation.